Hare Krishna. A few days ago, I was reading, I gave a lecture on the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And then there was a whole list of Lord Chaitanya's and Lord Nityananda's associates mentioned. But they were all great devotees. They were all incarnations of the gopis or the gopas. In this case, it's a whole list of kings I have to go through. Please bear with me. Ask the blessings, my superiors and elders. Okay, I start. This is verse 20. Yeah? So there's a whole. I'm reading just the English because there are really many lessons. I start at 26. Was it? Okay. Following the instructions of the great sage Jagasaifya, Vishvaksena compiled an elaborate description of the mystic yoga system. From Vishvaksena, Udakshena was born, and from Udakshena, Ballata. All these sons are known as descendants of Brihadishu. The son of Dvimida was Yavinara, whose son was Kritiman. The son of Kritiman was well known as Satyadriti. From Satyadriti came a son named Dridanemi, who became the father of Suparshva. The son of Shanti was Sushanti. The son of Sushanti was Puruja, and the son of Puruja was Arka. From Arka came Barmyasva, and from Barmyasva came 5 sons, Mugada, Yavinir, Brihadvishwa, Kampila, and Sanjay. Barmyasva prayed to his sons, "O my sons, please take charge of my 5 states, for you are quite competent to do so." Thus, his 5 sons were known as the Panchalas. From Mugala came a dynasty of Brahmins known as Maudgalya. Mudgala, the son of Baryasva, had twin children, one male and the other female. The male child was named Divodas, and the female child was named Ahalya. From the womb of Ahalya, by the semen of her husband Gotama, came a son named Satananda. The son of Satananda was Satyadriti, who was expert in archery, and the son of Satyadriti was Saratvan. When Saratvan met Urvasi, he discharged semen which fell on a clump of saragrass. From the semen were born 2 all-auspicious babies, one male and the other female. While Maharaj Santanu was on a hunting excursion, he saw the male and female children lying in the forest, and out of compassion he took them home. Consequently, the male child was known as Kripa, which means mercy, and the female child was named Kripi. Kripi later became the wife of Dronacharya. Sukadeva Goswami said, is this 20? No, still not. 20 more verses. Sukadeva Goswami said, "O king, the son of Divodas was Mitrayu, and from Mitrayu came 4 sons named Chavana, Sudas, Sahadev, and Somaka. Somaka was the father of Jantu. Somaka had 100 sons, of whom the youngest was Prishata. From Prishata was born King Drupada, who was opulent in all supremacy. From Maharaj Drupada, Draupadi was born. Also he had many sons, headed by Drishtadyumna. From Drishtadyumna came a son named Drishtaketu, and all these personalities are known as descendants of Barmyashva, or as the dynasty of Panchala. Another son of Ayamida was known as Riksha. From Riksha came a son named Samvarana, and from Samvarana, through the womb of his wife Tapati, the daughter of the sun god, came Kuru, the king of Kurukshetra. Kuru had 4 sons, Parikshi, Subhanu, Janu, and Nishada. From Sudanu, Suhotra was born, and from Suhotra, Chavana. From Chavana, Kriti was born. The son of Kriti was Upachara Vasu, and among his sons headed by Bradaratra were Kushamba, Matsya, Prachagara, and Cheripa. All the sons of Uparichar Vasu became rulers of the Chedi state. From Bradaratra, Kushagra was born, from Kushagra, Rishab, and from Rishab, Satyahita. The son of Satyahita was Puspavan, and the son of Puspavan was Jahu. Through the womb of another wife, Brihadatta begot 2 halves of a son. When the mother saw those two halves, she rejected them. But later, a she-demon called Jara playfully joined them and said, "Come to life, come to life." Then the son named Jarasandh was born. Jara, name of the mother of the witch, and Sanda, born, put together. From Jarasandh came a son named Sahadev. From Sahadev, Somapi. And from Somapi, Sutasrava. The son of Kuru, called Parikshit, had no sons. But the son of Kuru, called Janu, had a son named Surata. From Surata came a son named Vidurata, from whom Sarvabhauma was born. From Sarvabhauma came Jayasen. From Jayasen, Radhika. And from Radhika, Ayutayu. From Ayutayu came a son named Akrodana, and his son was Devatiti. The son of Devatiti was Riksha. The son of Riksha was Dilipa, and the son of Dilipa was Pratip. 5 more verses. The son of Pratip were Devapi, Santanu, and Balika. Devapi left the kingdom of his father and went to the forest, and therefore Santanu became the king. Santanu, who in his previous birth was known as Mahabish, had the ability, listen to this, to transform anyone from old age to youth simply by touching that person with his hand. Do you want to become old? Because the king was able to make everyone happy for sense gratification, primarily by the touch of his hand, his name was Santanu. Once, when there was no rainfall in the kingdom for 12 years, and the king consulted his learned Brahminical advisors, they said, "You are faulty for enjoying the property of your elder brother. For the elevation of your kingdom and home, you should return the kingdom to him." Purport. One cannot enjoy sovereignty or perform an Agnihotra Yajna in the presence of one's elder brother, or else one becomes a usurper, known as Parividha. When the Brahmana said this, Maharaj Santanu went to the forest and requested his elder brother Devapi to take charge of the kingdom. For it is the duty of a king to maintain his subjects. Previously, however, Santanu's minister, Ashvavar, had instigated some Brahmanas to induce Devapi to transgress the injunctions of the Vedas, and thus make himself unfit for the post of ruler. The Brahmanas deviated Devapi from the path of the Vedic principles, and therefore, when asked by Santanu, he did not agree to accept the post of a ruler. On the contrary, he blasphemed the Vedic literature, the Vedic principles, and therefore became fallen. Under the circumstances, Santanu again became the king, and Indra, being pleased, showered rains. Devapi later took to the path of mystic yoga to control his mind and senses, and went to the village named Kalapagram, where he is still living. After the dynasty of the moon god came to an end in this age of Kali, in the beginning of the next Satya Yuga, Devapi, so this person who is still living, in the beginning of the next Satya Yuga will re-establish the Soma dynasty in this world. From Balika, the brother of Santanu, came a son named Somadatta, who had 3 sons named Buri, Burishrava, and Sala. From Santanu, through the womb of his wife named Ganga, came Bhishma, the exalted self-realized devotee and learned scholar. Text 20, here we are. Bhishma Dev was the foremost of all warriors. When he defeated Lord Parasuram in a fight, Lord Parasuram was very satisfied with him. By the semen of Santanu in the womb of Satyavati, the daughter of a fisherman, Chitrangada took birth. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Satyavati was actually the daughter of Uparichar Vasu, by the womb of a fisher woman known as Matsya Garba. Garba womb, Matsya fish. Later, Satyavati was raised by a fisherman. The fight between Parasuram and Bhishmadev concerned 3 daughters of Kasiraj, Ambika, Ambalika, and Amba, who were forcibly abducted by Bhishmadev, acting on behalf of his brother Vichitavirya. Amba thought that Bhishmadev would marry her and became attached to him. But Bhishmadev refused to marry her, for he has taken the vow of brahmacharya. Amba therefore approached Bhishmadev, military spiritual master Parasuram, who instructed Bhishma to marry her. Bhishma refused, and therefore Parasuram fought with him to force him to accept the marriage. But Parasuram was defeated, and he was pleased with Bhishma. Jai. Om Agyanam Timarandasya Gyanam Jana Salakaya Chakshunmirtam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupakadam Vedam Svatidam Padantikam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadara Sivasari Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare. As far as I remember, the story of Bhishmadev, you told Maharaj, you told that story, right, already. So I'm not going into that. So as you notice from all these verses, amazing things you read of someone who is still alive. And it's said that Srila Vyasadeva is also still alive, isn't it? And so some personalities, Hanuman I think also, they're still alive. And semen falls on a piece of grass or something, and 2 living entities are born like that. Sometimes you hear someone is born from an ear, or or by a sneeze, or it's amazing. The Srimad Bhagavatam is amazing. And do you believe it? I believe it. But in order to believe it, and I am a very doubting person. When I was 8 years old, I went to the Sunday school. And he said they had Adam and Eve, were the first 2 human beings. And they had 2 children, Cain and Abel. And Cain killed Abel, and he was banished to a city. And I asked, being 8 years old, where did all these people come from the city? And the man teacher went, and the female teacher went like, I don't know. They didn't say like that. They didn't know. And then I thought, why should I go to the Sunday school? I better play outside. And then I went back. When I became a devotee, I was not looking for Krishna, not looking for God. I was looking for the absolute truth. Why was I alive? That was intriguing to me. I had everything what I wanted, and I still was not satisfied. And then, so I was in the class, in the lecture, I was asking, if there is a God, why is there war? Why is there hunger in Biafra? Why is someone 3 years old burns to her death? It's cruel if there's a God. And then he explained to me the law of karma, that every action has a reaction, and God has nothing to do with our suffering or enjoyment. That it's our own activities which are the cause of previous actions. You have now a body and you suffer or enjoy wealth or poverty, beauty or ugliness, intelligence or the opposite, like that. And it made sense to me. I don't know why, but it made sense to me. But if I explain it to certain people, it doesn't make sense. And I find that the most intriguing thing in this world, that some people, they have so much faith in the Quran, some have so much faith in the Bible, and some have so much faith in the Vedas, and some have so much faith that God doesn't exist. And how is that possible? You explain the same philosophy to 100 people, and a few of them become Hare Krishnas, and some ridicule them. You're devil worshippers or idol worshippers. And how is that possible? Who can give me the answer? Just use your brains. What do you think? You can speculate. Huh? Okay, karma, he says. Any other suggestion? Just, huh? Piety? Mercy? Okay.
According to what we're desiring, Krishna's revealed.
Yeah. According to our desire, and maybe also according to our piety, and according to maybe you have done some Agyata Sukriti, whatever, which unknowing performing activities, then knowledge is revealed to you from within. When you become a pure devotee, it's revealed from within. You can still study all the scriptures, but it can just be numbers or letters. You still won't be able to see Krishna. It is revealed by your devotion and by your piety, like that. And it's best if you explain our philosophy and they don't want to hear, just leave them alone. Don't try to defeat them. Because if you try to defeat them, they become abusive and they make offenses and this way even go further away from Krishna consciousness, isn't that? So, if you meet someone on the street, sometimes, because I'm a quite angry person, so like yesterday we were on the kirtan, and we went on a Harinam. Was it yesterday? Yeah. And it was a Christian, and they were, and I was like, I was just making a face to that person just because it was so obnoxious. But I shouldn't have done that. But sometimes it gets the hand. I say that it gets the hand. It takes over me, my conditioning of being passionate. So like that and ignorant. So generally I'm trying to be in goodness, but sometimes I retaliate. If someone steps on my toe, sometimes I'm like this. Sometimes if they're completely ignorant of what they do, then I push them or something. It can be like that. We're not pure. It is like that. You see from these kings, they're so saintly and they do the most abominable activities, just like previously, Sukracharya. Last week they were mentioning Sukracharya, the priest of the demigods. He forcefully, had sex with his brother's wife. And even though the soul inside that body, because she was pregnant, he was saying, no. He didn't care, being driven by lust. And we all can fall to that when lust takes over. Or anger takes over, and we destroy so many things. Just like Dhruva Maharaj, a little boy, 5 years old. He saw the Supreme Lord. He was able to fast, stop breathing. That everyone was like, They went to Lord Vishnu. We can't breathe. What's happening? Help. And then he said, don't worry, I will solve it. It was a little boy who stopped breathing. And so powerful. And then, because his little brother got killed, he became angry. By the Yakshas, wasn't it? The Yakshas. And he didn't found the person who killed his brother. He started killing everyone. And then Swayambhuva Manu tried to stop him. And he said, no, anger is the foremost foe. So in the Bhagavatam, sometimes that lust is the greatest foe. Anger is the greatest foe. You should see, I just read that somewhere. You should see the Bhagavatam that in the Western world there can be only one, the worst enemy or the greatest friend, but Vedically it expands, isn't it? You can say, some people say this, some people say that, and it's inclusive, as far as I've understood now. Because sometimes I was thinking, how can it be, like that? It can be only either lust, anger, greed. What are you talking about? Who is the one? But it's like that. So it's talking about Bhismadev, and occasionally on Pamho.net there are beautiful quotes of personalities like Yudhishthira. And a while ago there were some beautiful instructions of Bhismadev, and I wanted to read them for you. It's here, I think. No. Bhismadev. Bhismadev speaking to Yudhishthira. His importance of self-control, which is important for all us aspiring, we are actually more like bhakti yogis. We are yogis. So Yudhisthira inquired, how should one react to people who insult you by their rudeness and arrogance? What do you think he answered? Any idea? Bhishma replied, if one does not become angry when insulted by another, then he takes away all the pious merit that person may have accumulated by good deeds. In addition, he transfers to the abuser his own sinful reactions. After all, what is the value of praise or blame when uttered by a vulgar fool? A person who praises someone in his presence but criticizes him behind his back is no better than a dog. Yudhisthira, how should one debate with an unscrupulous person? Bhishma replied, in a debate, the tactics of a truthful person are limited, but the deceitful person can utilize any abominable method. However, if the truthful person were to use the same tactics as his opponent, he will find himself at a greater disadvantage, for he is acting contrary to his nature. I will repeat that. However, if the truthful person were to use the same tactics as his opponent, he will find himself at a greater disadvantage, for he is acting contrary to his nature. Therefore, a truthful and honest person should always avoid an argument with an unscrupulous person. Yudhisthira then required, how should one behave toward a more powerful enemy? Bhishma replied, even though the swift current of the river can uproot and carry huge trees, the canes survive since they bend with the current. Similarly, in order to survive an enemy more powerful, one must yield while staying firmly anchored to the roots. Yudhisthira inquired, what should a weak person do if out of foolishness and pride he provokes a powerful enemy? Bhishma replied, O king, the weaker person must repent and thus appease the stronger enemy. Yudhisthira inquired, what is the origin of all sin? Bhishma replied, greed. The hankering to possess more than one's naturally ordained quota is the origin of all sin. The desire to possess that which belongs to another is insatiable and gives rise to anger, lust, loss of judgment, arrogance, miserliness, lack of compassion, enviness, mistrust, and many other evils. Ignorance is made up of the same material as greed, though if analyzed, it can be seen that ignorance also comes from greed. As one's greed increases, its ignorance also becomes more dense. Yudhisthira inquired, what produces the highest merit? Bhishma replied, self-restraint surpasses all other activities in this regard, and it's therefore considered to be the highest virtue, because self-restraint... Jaya, my lordship. Ski, Jaya. Open the door. Hari Hari Bol. Jaya. Because self-restraint purifies and controls every aspect of one's life, it is more important than giving in charity and the study of the Vedas. By self-restraint alone, one can achieve liberation from the material world. Self-restraint comprises sense control, freedom from anger, non-enviousness, impartiality, truthfulness, steadiness, and contentment. However, the essential quality of self-restraint is austerity. Thus no good can be achieved without austerity. Yudhisthira then inquired, O Bhishma, is there any rule that should never be violated under any condition? Bhishma replied, the worship of true brahmanas and giving them all kinds of respect must never be given up under any circumstance. So you see in these stories, we can read in these stories of the Bhagavatam, that even great sages, great yogis, great kings perform abominable activities. Even demigods like Indra, anyone can fall from their standard. Even us devotees, sometimes we're taken away from the post because we did something illicit or whatever. We had a fall down. Can happen. But, no, we should never look at a devotee who had an actual accidental fall down as being a demon or a non-devotee. They still consider to be saintly, no matter what they did, because they're on the path to devotional service. So they are not a kami, they're special. And it's just a temporary, how do you call it, a stop, when something stops for a while. Louder. Obstruction, no. But anyway, you understand what I mean, huh? Yeah, I know. I'm looking for another word. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You understand what I mean, huh? So it doesn't that when you it's just like you fail your exams and then you just continue. You just continue with it. You don't have to start with number one. Say you leave the movement. You leave the movement and you are gone for 20 years. It doesn't mean that you have to start the Bhakti program again when you come back. Even after 3 months you can just go back on the altar. It's not like that. It's to your eternal credit. Whatever you've done, 2 months, 5 months, it's not taken away from you. Even if you kill a Brahmin, it's still, they said, like by circumambulating Tulsi, you're even freed from killing the heinous sin of killing a Brahmana, which is the most abominable act. Like it said, like just Bhishma was saying that don't offend a Brahmana. We should, the nature, how I said it, we should behave always respectful and be tolerant and forgiving. Which is very difficult, if you don't have that nature, if your nature is to hold a grudge, it's very difficult to get rid of that, it's very difficult to get a grudge, to get rid of that, especially if the person don't say sorry, like that, or if they accuse you of something, of stealing something, and you haven't done it, to not retaliate. Ooh, I haven't done it. No. I've done that. And they don't believe you. And sometimes you are taken out of your post. They accuse you of theft, of certain things. And why does these things happen? What do you think? Louder, I'm deaf.
Token reaction for previous sins.
A reaction for previous sins? Anyone else? Other suggestion? Yeah? What? To make us humble. Yeah. Both maybe. Sometimes more this, sometimes more that. It is Krishna, he's so tricky. And he wants you to become detached. And that's why, like I have the tendency to become proud. And so when I become proud, he just puts the rugs under my feet, and then I say, oh yes, I'm insignificant. And he does that with each. He knows your weaknesses, and pride goes so quickly to your head. I did 200 books today. I did this. I cooked the best offering today, and everyone likes my offering. I'm the best. There was one time a lutenist, someone who plays a lute, and he was playing in front of the deity. I'm talking about the time of Ramanuja Acharya, long time ago. And the deity was actually going like this. on playing his flute. And he thought, just see, the Lord is swinging to my tune. And actually, I think he was also speaking to him. But anyway, he became so puffed up. Then one time Ramanuja Acharya, who was, one of the very important personality, heading Sampradaya, and he came in and he didn't pay attention to him. Just like in the case of Lord Balaram entering where was it again? And who was sitting on the Vyasasan? Ramaharshana. And everyone stood up to welcome Lord Balaram. And he thought, I'm sitting on the Vyasasan, I'm a very important personality. And he went like this to Lord Balaram. He didn't get up. So Balaram, what did he do? He killed him with a piece of kusha grass. So like that, it can go to our head, even sitting on the Vyasasan, It is said that when you offer the arti and a guest comes in, then you welcome them. And if it's in a very exalted, you can even stop the arti and welcome them. And that sometimes the people offer arti, and then people are standing there and they don't even see them, they don't offer them Mahaprasadam afterwards, etc. One time I read just recently a letter of Prabhupada, and he came in right at the end of the arti, and there was at the manor actually, and there were one guest, one devotee, and he says, call this the person who did the transfer. And he was really angry with that person. He said, why didn't you give him prasadam, to that guest? Like that. It's very important, all of you speak English, but I come to places where people don't speak English. And if they don't speak English, they will never read the letters of Prabhupada, or will never be able to hear his talks in morning walks and room conversations. There's so many instructions of Prabhupada which you completely don't know, and they follow all kinds of courses. Better learn English, then you know that your guru is speaking the same way as Srila Prabhupada. And then you can read so much nectar. But sometimes Prabhupada said only things once. Every time there's new things opening up to me, just like 2 days ago, because many of you were in Leicester when I gave the class, just like in Mangalarti, I saw that morning like 15 people with their hands behind the back, and Ekanath, my godbrother, he posted a letter that in Calcutta they were having some the prayers, and then suddenly there was some noise in the back, and they looked, and there was Srila Prabhupada going heavy to someone, and then they continued, and again there was Prabhupada, and he said, what happened? And then the devotees had their arms in the back. In the temple, you are respectful, like this or like that, but not like this, and and certainly not leaning on the side, and like that. And also not with the back to the altar, not to Krishna, not with the back to Prabhupada during the kirtans, Guru Puja. I said it. And also, I said it too, but I'm repeating it again. Nowadays, I see often that people come in and they go all the way there and pay obeisance to Prabhupada. But, quote from the Hari Bhakti Vilas, 1 second. So many things start happening. They offer Tulsi, when they offer Tulsi Arti, they offer first permission to Prabhupada. You do that when you offer to the Lordship, but Tulsi is a pure devotee. You don't have the permission for Prabhupada to worship Tulsi. You can go directly to Tulsi Devi. People start doing all kinds of things, and I have to say these things because when I'm dead and gone, who's going to say it? Let me see. What was I looking for? A screenshot. 1 second. No, check it down. Screenshot. Here's, for instance, a letter which is happening in ISKCON right now. The 4th of January, 1973. My dear Dhruvananda, please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge the receipt of your letter dated December 17, 1972. And as I've noted the contents with care, you've asked me several questions about the deity worship in Los Angeles, so I shall answer them one after another. Your first question, shall Srimati Radharani's feet be showing? The answer is no. They should never be seen. Krishna's feet, however, should be showing. I do not know when I've said to anyone that Krishna should not wear anything black color, nor I know where I have given any permission to wear black color. But there is no harm if sometimes Krishna dresses something black. Sometimes in Vrindavan they dress him in black. Yes, the leaves of Srimati Tulsi Devi may be offered to all Vishnu Tattva expansions of Krishna, including Nityananda and Balaram. And you may dress Lord Chaitanya in the standard way. Main thing is to do it nicely. Don't make it funny. Sometimes I see Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda and their beads are strung together like they are a window display. You know, they should be able to just get off the altar right there. You dress them as a person, not as, oh, let me put some pearls from here to there, or a ring in between on two fingers. Who wears a ring on two fingers? It is on here or on this one. Like that. Then it's just you decorating. You don't dress a person. Why are you pouring water over the head of Radha and Krishna deities? Big deities should not be bathed in this way, using water or other things. Rather, they bathe daily by mantra. Do you not know these things? Blah, 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 blah. From now on, unless I order you to do something, change or in addition, go on with the usual standard way. You manufacture ideas, and then I have to waste my time. I've given you everything already. There's no need for you to add anything or change anything. Why are you asking these things? Who has given you such freedom? Pujaris should operate entirely under the supervision of temple president and GBC, not independently. The greatest danger to our movement will come when we manufacture and create our own process for worshipping the deities. So don't ask any more new questions. Whatever is going on, follow it just the exact standard as I've given you. That is all. But there was something else I wanted to share. 1 second. Yeah. The 64 items are as follows. There must be a big bell, which is there, hanging in front of the temple room, so that whoever comes into the room can ring the bell. This item is called prabodhana, or offering oneself submissively to the Lord. This is the first item. The visitor must chant, Jai Shri Shri Radha Govindo, Jai Shri Madhavadava, in this case, Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda, when he rings the bell. In either case, the word Jai must be uttered. One should be immediately offer obeisance to the Lord, falling down like a stick. There must be regular Mangal Arati here in the temple during the early morning, 1.5 hours before the sunrise. Well, that is happening here. But many temples have Mangal Arati at 7 o'clock, believe it or not. No, there's these things happening in our lifetime. It's watering down. And Prabhupada said one time, when the deities were wearing garlands, which were kind of dead-like, withered, it's the word. He said, don't think when I've left the planet, they think, oh, our Guru Maharaj left us such a big burden, and then it becomes slack that the dogs pass urine in the temple. It's like that. For that we have to become very careful. So it's 8:30. Thank you very much. I just had to say these things, and it's about Bhisma and instructions. So there's so many things, new things happening. And one person start doing it, and then everyone follows in their footsteps, and it doesn't have an origin. It's someone's speculation. I even, the other day, it was about 4:20, and Prabhupada was sitting there with his chadar, and I removed the chadar from his feet, and I touched his feet. And the Pujari said, Prabhupada is not awake yet. Please wait. First of all, Prabhupada should be wakened at 3:45 at least, so that when everyone is there, you can see Prabhupada. But things like that. And then you say something, then they still argue. And that is, what can we do? So, any questions or comments?